Hello, my name is Koryaka Hoshi and I will be your chairperson today for your Dharma lesson. And are there any visitors or new students and families here this morning? If so, welcome to our temple. Could those of you sitting near them help find the proper pages for the sutras, gathas, and readings? Thank you. First, we will have Sambhu Jo on page 24 in the Big Book, followed by Satra chanting Jingja Sun on page 23 in the Little Book or page 93 in the Big Book. The page numbers for Sutra book will be displayed on the front screen and on your monitors at home, so please follow along.
저지법 극혐이 셔먼 세부조성악 비여 그진셔는 조의 슈봉교 시금의 저도 이쇼테니치 지니키엔 다이코 의성의 사이도 쇼조산 금요 거사이 슈야크난 가이지에겐 메시콘 모한 에서크쇼아크도 쓰다즈센 슈몬 고소조만석 이여러지법 미지가스 슈즈키 벤콘 프겐 이슈카이 혼소 코스레크더크호 조다이 슈츠 세포시시크 그여이 사이뭇 그소크슈더크혼 간내시스조만 거크이 상가요 묘부츠그개치 스라츠미 부쇼 강가크에릭 도시사이쇼선 시간야코카 다이센 오칸도 오크쇼
Now we will have Gotha. Now we will have Gotha Hotoke Sama on page 55 in the small service book, followed by the Golden Chain, which is located on page 2 in the little book, or page 15 in the big book under Golden Chain 1. Now we will have the golden chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong and
I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself.
I
will
will
think
think pure and beautiful thoughts, say
say
pure and beautiful
words,
things, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu,
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Now we have a Dharma lesson by Mrs. Tanabe.
Good morning. How are you today? Good. Please join me in Gasho. May all beings be happy. Namo Amidava Su. Namo Amidava Su. Namo Amidava Su. Dharma School students, you're going to have a special treat today. What is it? Mochi, yes. That'll be fun. This morning is one day closer to December 25th. What's December 25th? Christmas Day, yes. Although we as Buddhists do not celebrate Christmas, we do celebrate the holidays. How many of you have a Christmas tree? Yes. How many of you have lights inside or outside the house? How many of you decorated inside your house with all kinds of Christmas things? Yes. How many of you sing Christmas songs? Yes. How many of you exchange gifts? How many of you have a list, a big list of gifts you want? Honest. I like this honesty. It's a cultural thing with it. It might be a cultural thing with you too. For Christmas, the brightest gift is the birth of Jesus Christ on December 25th. What is the most important gift you wish? What? Santa Claus? And you? Giving gifts. Oh, that's wonderful. You'd rather give gifts than receive gifts? Be honest. Okay. The gift is determined by circumstances, right? If you are a house person, maybe the gift you want is a good hot meal, or maybe a warm place to spend the night. When you are as old as me, you don't want more things. I would like to have maybe some snacks. That would be nice. But my wish is for my family to all get together and have conversation and have music and have fun. But most of all, I would like to see kindness during this time of the year. Kindness, not just one day, but kindness throughout the year. Kindness could be a kind word. It could be a kind action of some sort, maybe a pat on the back, or maybe just knowing that someone needs something special. But it should not be someone just because you want to give something. It should come from your heart. You could give a big smile of encouragement. On television, I saw many acts of kindness, particularly during disaster. I see neighbors helping each other, even though they have lost everything themselves. Have you seen that acts of kindness? acts of kindness is contagious, right? If you give an act of kindness, it goes around and around to many, many people. You're going to have mochizuki today. What does that mean? You're going to pound that special rice to make mochi. Pounding the rice takes effort, right? You have to use some strong muscles. But you also have to be in a teamwork with other people. Does anyone know why we have mochi around this time of year? Why? Yes? Just have a good time. You have a good time too. Yes. He said to have people. Does anyone know why in so many homes with the mochi there's a tangerine or mikan? Where mikan is? The Japanese put mikan by the mochi. What is that for?
Wish for the longevity, because mochi kind of stretch,
Oh, I see.
like the mochi stretches long.
Uh-huh.
We wish for the longevity.
Oh,
Longevity. I think.
okay,
Sorry, I'm not that Wikipedia, so.
okay.
Mikan, I have no idea.
My daughter says that mikan because it's yellow and it's round, and she says the Chinese like something that's round and yellow. Gilbert, is that true? Do the Chinese have mikan or tangerine because it's yellow and round? Gilbert, I'm looking at you. Gilbert, do you know why the Chinese use mikan? Don't look at her. I'm talking to you. Can somebody next to him ask him? Can you boys ask him? Okay, Gilbert, you're off the hook then. Okay, I like Mikama's exclamation. Yes. But when you pound the mochi, you have to have a certain rhythm, right? Are you going to pound the mochi or is it going to be by machine? It should be both, right? Yes. Somebody pounds with a stick, somebody has to go and get the mochi and turn it over so it could be pounded by all sides. That's a dangerous job. If you're not careful, you could get your hand whacked, right? How many of you gonna go make mochi today? Okay, will you make some for me too? Okay, thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho. May all beings be happy. Nama Amidabhasa. Nama Amidabhasa. Nama Amidabhasa. Thank you very much. Go out there and have fun and pound to your happiness.
Thank you, Mrs. Tomanabe. Now, we will now have Sayonara on page 103 in the Little Book, followed by the promise located on page 5 in the Big Book, or page in the Little Book, or page 15 in the Big Book. We thank the Buddha for showing us the way of freedom. We endeavor to walk in his noble path every day of our lives. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you to Ringbon Sakamoto, Reverend Makame, Reverend Jones, Mrs. Tomanabe, organist Mrs. Jones, and AV coordinator Mr. Akazuchi. Are there any announcements? Before everyone leaves the temple, please straighten all the books for the next service. Those of you who are interested are welcome to attend the adult English service following this service. For your safety, please obey the crossing guards and look both ways before crossing the street. Thank you for attending today's service.
There were no announcements? That was a surprise. So please remember, next week and the following week, there is only 10 o'clock service. So there's no more Dharma school services for the rest of the year. But please come and join us next week and the following week at a 10 o'clock service. And then on New Year's Eve, our Joyaya service will be here in the Hondo from 7 o'clock. And then Shushoya, New Year's Day service, will be 10 o'clock, New Year's Day, over in the annex. So please plan to join us for these services. Okay, thank you very much. Please come forward for Shoko. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Kelly says I sent those stamps with you. She knows where they are, so she's gonna.
Hi, good. Thank you, good job. Good morning, good morning. No, you're on your own.
Good morning. My name is Amy Furukawa, and I will be your chairperson for today's service. I'm a first-timer, so forgive me if I make any mistakes. Before we begin this morning, just a reminder that there's no food or drinks in the hondo, and please turn off your cell phones or at least put it on silence. Thank you. Do we have anyone here for the first time? I will not ask you if you want to introduce yourself, but please introduce yourself when we go over to Mochizuki after the service. We will begin this morning's service with Sambujo on page 24 of the large service book, followed by Sutra chanting Jusege on page 23 of the little book and 93 of the large service book. The page numbers for the Sutra book will be displayed on the front screen and on your monitors at home, so please follow along.
Namandads, 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 namandads.
Ujo 주주기 행공흥행 이슈가이호소 고세근노구호 조온나이슈주 샘모시시급 그여이사이붓 그송으슈도그홈 간내시투조만 동의상하요 요묻는게지 쯔납미허쇼 강가구에릭 도시사이쇼소 시강약곡가 나이센노간도 공의쇼텐닝 도의지명계 아만남음 남한남음 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 건니식문홍 연어세이사이 노원하이심 오조
나만다 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 나만다.
Please rise for Gatha on page 3 of this yellow book. I'm a link in the golden chain. Please remain standing for the three treasures on page 3 of the small Dharma book.
I'm a link in the golden chain. Harmony may we three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves a supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Thank you. Please be seated.
And now Reverend Jones will give this morning's Dharma talk.
Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Well, good morning. Thanks to everybody here and everybody online for joining us today. It's a bright, crisp day. So as most of you know, I've been on a fairly long journey to arrive here before you today as, well, hopefully a Kyoshi minister. Although we completed our training back in early November, we won't know until the next few weeks whether we've all successfully completed and passed. So we have to wait for word from Kyoto officially. But over the past couple of months, I've had a lot of people come up and say, you know, why did you do this? Why did you start all this? You need to tell us something about it. And, you know, tell us why. What prompted you? And if you took a chance to read the BCA Wheel of Dharma newsletter last month, you may have read a short article that I had published there. And so there might be a little repetition here. So not surprisingly, I was not raised in a Buddhist tradition. My father is Protestant, and although I don't really know the specifics, my mother was a devout Catholic, and therefore my brother and I were raised Catholic. I went through catechism classes, and we were even dismissed from our elementary school classes to travel by school bus provided by the school district to an off-campus location to attend the classes. I'm not sure if that happens anymore. And by the way, this wasn't in the Midwest or in the South. This was here in San Jose. I went to elementary school at Baccarat, which is just a couple miles from here, River Glen, and Schallenberger, both in the Willow Glen area. So this is all in San Jose. But as I progressed in my education and attendance in the Catholic tradition, I became an altar boy, which actually turned out to be sort of good training for what I do now, with some of the rituals and practices. So a couple similarities along the way. But as a young person, I experienced death in many close family members. The only grandparent I ever met died when I was 6. My dad passed away when I was 12. His younger brother, my uncle, when I was 13, and others. The messages from the priests were neither meaningful nor comforting to me, and in fact, they were quite the opposite. There were many things about the teachings and about the way the followers behaved inside and outside the church that troubled me. So I left the Catholic Church at the age of about 14. I tried a different form of Christianity in high school. I attended Grace Baptist Church, which some of you may know is on 10th and San Fernando behind San Jose State. This was a really wonderful congregation. The pastors were excellent. Everybody was friendly, and they were warm both inside the church and outside. But the message behind the teachings still fell flat with me. There were many things I couldn't wrap my mind around, and so I just didn't find that helpful for me. Looking back, I realized I've been searching for a way to understand life and the world around me, and that could be evidenced by my reading habits when I was quite young, starting in about 6th and 7th grade. I was reading philosophy, psychology, and science fiction, and trying to figure it all out. My path to Buddhism was not planned or mapped out. I was actually drawn into Buddhism when I came under the influence of a beautiful and enticing Buddhist spirit. This person you all know as Elaine. Not long after we started dating, I attended her uncle's funeral at the Oakland Buddhist Temple. The service was officiated by Reverend Zuike Taniguchi. His Dharma message captivated me. Finally, I had heard a teaching that made sense to me. It helped me to put life and death in a perspective I had never considered. It was soothing. This was the pivotal moment that sent me on the path I walk today. In a few years, Elaine and I were married here at the Betsuin, and when our oldest son, Stuart, started attending Dharma school and we started to attend services more regularly, I continued to hear the Dharma messages that fed my interest and started me reading and asking questions. Reverend Dr. Ronald Nakasone, and you can see his picture on the back wall, wrote a book called The Ethics of Enlightenment, and it became a very fundamental text to my early learning. And I took it with me wherever I went. I was traveling a lot in those days, and I took it literally with me around the world and read it and read it and read it. The writings of Thich Nhat Hanh also profoundly impacted my understanding of Buddhism and of myself. And as many of you are aware, I eventually joined the board of directors of the Betsuin at the urging of Eddie and Joyce Iwasaki, and I eventually became president. This then led, with the sponsorship of Sumi Tanabe, to roles at the BCA Endowment Foundation and the Institute of Buddhist Studies Board of Trustees, exposing me both to the organizational and spiritual side of the BCA. It was about this time that I heard about the fledgling Minister's Assistant Program, or MAP, started within the BCA. But it wasn't until nearly 2 decades later that I could begin this journey. With the support of Rinban Sakamoto and Bishop Marvin Harada, I embarked on the path to becoming a certified minister's assistant and ultimately pursuing Tokido ordination. This process involved completing a 2-year online Jodo Shinshu class. I actually participated in the pilot program in the late 90s, but found I had to take it all over again when I actually officially joined the MAP program. I also completed a Shin Buddhist certificate program at the Institute of Buddhist Studies and took several ministerial assistance training programs that happened at various temples and then also at the Jodo Shinshu Center. But during that time, I've had the privilege of delivering Dharma messages here and teaching a bi-monthly Dharma study class here at the Betsuin that was started by Reverend Akahoshi. Tokido training began in early 2023 with a cohort of 9 other candidates. We were fortunate to have the guidance of many dedicated individuals. Reverend Jerry Hirano, who used to be here, in fact, this was his first assignment in BCA, so we met him back in the 80s, and Bishop Harada led the program. Reverend Tadao Koyama and Reverend Katsuya Kusunoki were our primary instructors. Reverend Kiyonobu Kuwahara provided constant support and acted as our liaison with Kyoto. On a personal level, I'm deeply grateful for Rinban Sakamoto's support and for Reverend Mikame's one-on-one sessions on chanting, ritual, and protocol. She's a tough teacher, but she's dedicated to the success of the MAs and to the continued success of Jodo Shinshu in America. Late last year, and about this time last year, our Tokido cohort traveled to Kyoto for an intensive 11-day training and testing retreat. This was at the Nishiyama Center outside of Kyoto. We were joined by one other U.S. member from Hawaii. Our 11 U.S. members were the only non-Japanese speaking participants. There were 55 other participants who had to wait while everything was translated into English for us. So every session involved first in Japanese, and then the folks that were helping us told us what was said in English, and everybody else had to wait for us. The age range of our 11 people cohort was about 26 to early 70s. The age range for the other 55, all from Japan, was from teenage, and I don't honestly know how old the youngest was, to over 80 years old. There were 2 people in their 80s. Most of them were probably in their late teens or early 20s, and many of them were from temple families in Japan. Now, the process in Japan included tonsure, which is the ritual head shaving. This was required for all male participants and optional for the female participants. There were a handful of women who went through tonsure, including one of the 2 women in the U.S. group. They were long days. We were woken up, some of us were already awake, but 5:30 a.m. is when this day started, and 11 p.m. was lights out. The days were packed with training, chanting, service practice, lectures, and testing. All 11 of us completed that successfully. All 11 of us are now Tokido. But the story doesn't end there. Just a month later, in January, we started up again, this time in pursuit of the Kyoshi certification. Tokido is an ordination. This is the method by which you become a Buddhist priest. Kyoshi is a certification, and the Kyoshi means teacher. And the completion of the Kyoshi process indicates that you've been certified to teach Jodo Shinshu. 5 of our Tokido cohorts continued on with the Kyoshi certification training. We were joined by 3 Tokido ministers from Europe, 2 from the UK and 1 from Germany, who had all been through Tokido several years before us and had all passed much of the testing for Kyoshi ahead of us. As with the Tokido training, there were several 3-day retreats at the Jodo Shinshu Center in Berkeley during the year. Last June, we were tested on several aspects of the rituals and memorization to show that we were ready to move on toward the final training. Our class of 8 was only the second cohort to go through a certification process outside of Kyoto. The first happened a couple of years ago and was impacted by the COVID pandemic and how it was run. Also, Kyoto required strict adherence to the training agenda. For our session this year, Bishop Harada and Reverend Kuwahara convinced Kyoto to allow the BCA much more latitude to create a more international, that is non-Japanese, agenda. Instead of traveling to Japan and spending 11 days sequestered at the Nishiyama Training Center in Kyoto, the Kyoshi training was 10 days at the Jodo Shinshu Center in Berkeley. Kyoto did send 2 ministers to us to drive the process. We had met both of them the previous year in Kyoto. This session was much more focused on ritual and much less focused on memorization and fact accumulation. It was nevertheless exhausting. I'm happy to say that we all made it through, and I don't think there were any poor performances. Reverend Mikame was one of our instructors and judges on giving Dharma messages. Some of the 8 people plan to go on to become Kai Kyoshi ministers. The bishop will assign them temples to first go through their 1-year internship and then to a temple to become a resident minister. Others, me included, will settle in as Kyoshi ministers, serving our home temple, and will not be assigned to other temples. This has been a long journey for me. I started before the youngest of our cohort members was even born, and that makes me feel old. Reverend Mikame is the same age as my middle daughter, so that makes me feel old too. But what I really feel after all this work, study, and effort, and time is gratitude. Gratitude to Reverend Taniguchi for delivering the Dharma message that instilled in me the passion to learn. To Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi for paving the way for a minister's assistant from the Betsuin. To Rinban Sakamoto for his continuous and unwavering support. And to my fellow MAs, Sumi and Dennis. To Reverend Mikame for her way beyond the call of duty time spent working with me and, by the way, other MAs as well. To Bishop Harada and Reverend Hirano, Reverend Koyama, Reverend Kusunoki, Reverend Kuwahara, the JSC staff. Judy Kono, if you've never met her at the JSC, she works tirelessly, and she fed us for 10 days straight. So, well, Reverend Michael Endo is a chef par excellence, and he and Judy were cooking away the whole 10 days, feeding us 3 meals a day. But also all of you here at the Betsuin. The Sangha has been supportive and encouraging at every step of the way. My family has also had to put up with a lot over the last 5 years as I went back to school, studied, read, practiced, and disrupted vacations. Even my grandkids in Torrance had to adjust to things as I continued on my journey. Elaine's sister Phyllis has always been there for us, and she's been a big supporter during this process. But most of all, I'm grateful that Elaine had introduced me to all of this, and that she's continued to put up with me and my journey as we've been on our journey for over 43 years and hopefully many more. It's been an interesting and rewarding journey to this point, and in addition to all of the memorization, chanting, and rituals, there are some other things I've learned as well. The role of a Jodo Shinshu Kaikyoshi minister shares a common trait with the familiar analogy of the iceberg. We see only a small percentage of what a typical minister does day to day, week to week, and over the years. We know something of their sacrifice of family time and income potential, but I don't think most people really appreciate the full extent of this commitment. To be clear, I'm not now, or nor do I intend on becoming a Kaikyoshi minister. The challenge for ministerial candidates from outside Japan is considerable. We rely completely on the support of Japanese-speaking intermediaries during the complete process. We are being taught the way things are done in Japan, and those procedures also are often quite different than what is done here in the U.S. Through this dedication, hard work, and advocacy of Bishop Marvin Harada and Reverend Kiyonobu Kuwahara of the Jodo Shinshu International Office, or JSIO, the BCA was granted considerable latitude in the recent Kyoshi training process to make it more consistent with American processes. However, it's still largely based on rituals practiced largely in Japan. The need for a vibrant minister's assistant program has never been greater. This is a way not only of getting help within the temple for the resident minister, it's also a path of entry into the religious practices of Shin Buddhism for people not brought up in the tradition, and it also serves as a source of ordained ministers for the future. That said, having a minister's assistant program at a temple is another draw on the time and energy of the resident ministers. Although most of the doctrinal and some of the ritual training come from the BCA and the Center for Buddhist Education, the local minister is responsible to guide the MA, show us the rituals as done at the local level, and to constantly groom us so that we can properly represent the resident minister and the BCA in the best possible way. Here at San Jose, the support of Rinban Sakamoto and the time and effort from Reverend Mikame were essential for me. And finally, this journey has taught me that spiritual growth is not a solitary endeavor, but a collective one, enriched by the wisdom and compassion of others. And as I continue on this path, I hope to pay forward the generosity and teachings I've received, contributing to the flourishing of the Dharma in our San Jose Sangha. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amidutsu. Namo Amidutsu. Namo Amidutsu. Namo. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Reverend Jones, and congratulations on completing your training process. Now please rise for Gatha Ondoku-san 2 on page 76 of the Small Dharma school service book.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated. Announcements.
Are there any announcements?
Me again, just a couple of things. So if anyone is interested in a minister's assistance program, and there is no commitment, by the way, to becoming a minister in this program. It can be very low-key and just help out here around the temple. But if you're interested in learning more about the temple and the workings of the temple and helping during services and so on, you can please see me or any of the ministers or any of the ministers' assistants and ask and let us know of your interest. Also, last Tuesday, we had a special session of the Dharma study class where we talked about the emotions and feelings and of the recent political events in our country and how we would use Shin Buddhism to work around that and work through it. The event came off very nicely. We had a good number of people here at the temple in the boardroom and also online. And we're going to do it again, either in probably in the early February timeframe. So watch out for that. And if you're interested in what we did or anything, there's no recording. That was a commitment we made to everybody. We wouldn't record it. And there's not going to be a published set of minutes or anything like that. But if you're interested in learning more about it, please see me. And then watch out for announcements. We'll schedule that again, like I say, probably in, sometime in the February timeframe. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Amy, for chairing your first service here. If you were as nervous as I was the first time I did it. Hopefully you weren't, but it's a different experience. Amy and I share a couple of things, and certainly one of the things is we're used to going to the 9:30 Dharma School service, so we're extremely comfortable. We know exactly how that service runs all the time, and if she was like me, she probably never attended the 10:10 service while our kids were Dharma School students here. So the first time I had to come in here and chair a 10:10 service, I was going, what do they do? Why do they do this? I don't understand. So I was really nervous doing that. So she did a better job than I did, I think, my first time. Anyway, so what was I up here for? Oh, yeah. So Rinbon's going to talk about the services coming up. So I'll let him do that. But in addition to the services he's going to mention for the rest of the month and beginning of January, we have on January 15th our Honko service, and that will be followed by our New Year's luncheon. So our annual New Year's luncheon will occur that day. So you can purchase tickets in the office. I think the flyers went out with the last Dharma newsletter. I believe they're $25 for a regular bento or a vegetarian one, and $5 for pizza if you bring kids or something, or if you don't want Japanese food, you want a pizza instead, you can order that. Anyway, be sure to jump on that. Obviously, we have the holidays coming up, and we get really busy, and we forget to do things. So, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder, the next couple of Sundays, there is no Dharma school service, and the services will start at 10 o'clock. So please be here at 10. If you come at 10:10, you'll be late, which is not good. No. So please know that we'll have just one service the next couple of weekends. And then on New Year's Eve, we observe our Joyaye service at 7 o'clock here in the Hondo. And then New Year's Day, Shishoye service, 10 o'clock in the annex. So please join us for these services. The Ho'onko service in January, our guest speaker will be Hayashi Sensei, Nariaki, Reverend Hayashi from the Denver Buddhist Temple. He was at Ekoji, which is the temple in Virginia, and then he transferred to Denver and is the head minister of the Denver Tri-State Buddhist Temple. And he'll join us for our Ho'onko service. So if you have a chance, please join us for that service as well. As Larry mentioned, it's also our New Year's Day or New Year's luncheon, so please come and join us for that as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Please come forward for Oshoko. Thank you, Amy. Oh, she had, okay, thank you, sorry.
It's okay, he just cut me off, it's fine. So thank you to Rinpa Sakamoto, Reverend Mikame, Reverend Jones, Ms. Sumi Tanabe, organist Elaine Jones, and AV coordinator Steve Onishi. And thank you everyone for attending this morning's service. We will have closing gasho, and please come forward to offer incense. Also, please join us in the multi-purpose room for mochi making and eating.
Jagasho, please. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Thank you, everyone.